Good Erev Shabbos, everybody. All over the news, they're talking about the year in review. It's not the Jewish New Year, but still, it's always a good time to do a cheshbon nefesh. It's always a good time to review our lives. And I figured if everybody else was doing a year in review, so I like to do one too and see the things that I learned over the course of this past year. So the first thing I learned was how connected everybody really is. We had this small virus that affected a few people in some place in China that nobody ever heard of. And then all of a sudden, it causes chaos throughout the whole entire world. It just shows that when they say that we're all in this together, we really are. We really are in this together. And what affects somebody, even in some place in China, really affects all of us. I think that's the biggest lesson that I learned this year. The next thing is that you never know when your last moment will be. Uh, this fits well into the parsha where we see Yaakov making plans because he sees that his last moments on earth are coming up. And we saw how many people were just whisked away from their families, unfortunately, and they never really got to say goodbye. And they never got to say the messages that they always wanted to say, that they may have planned on saying, and have the goodbye that they hope to have. So we should really do that now. We should really make sure that we leave messages, maybe video messages, and tell our children that we love them and tell them the things that we want to say to them, to our family members now, and not wait for the future. And also plan to show them the things that what you want, what you need to tell them, with it as financial and so on. All that should be done now. The next thing I learned is don't ever take anybody for granted. I mean, they all talk about the times we stood outside and we clapped for the doctors and how the doctors were crying, couldn't believe that people are clapping for them, that they're famous. Yeah, those are the people who should be famous, people who are helping us. We shouldn't take anybody. The garbage people, all the people who risk their lives, who deal with it, are things that we don't even want to deal with every day, that we should never take them for granted. We should never take any of our family members, anybody for granted. We don't know what tomorrow will bring, and everybody's really important to our well-being for us to have the life that we want to have. So that's number three. Number four is you can never truly plan for the future. I mean, we all had those plans. People had the plans for Pesach going away, and everybody had these great plans for the summer camps and so on. And all that just got thrown out, and everybody looked at it like it's going to be the end of the world. We're not going to be able to spend Pesach together, and it's hard. Believe me, it was very hard. Um, but we got through it. We got through it, and we can't just assume that all our plans for the future. We like to plan. We're people who always like to plan, and we can't assume that our plans are going to go through. So we have to be willing to roll with the punches and to try to make the best of every single situation. I think this year we did make the best of many very, very difficult situations, and that's a big message that we always have to roll with the punches. Number five is that Hashem gives us everything that we need to be able to get through the hard times. We have to just be creative. We had Zoom. We get the cure before the plague. We got the Zoom that were able to get us through when nobody ever heard of Zoom before this past year. But it's so many different technologies and so on. But there were so much things that we were able to be creative and to bring out our creative juices to be able to connect to one another. The next lesson, number six, I think that you have to turn to the basics in life. I think we got so caught up in the past on always trying to get more and more and have bigger things and so on. And now this year, people are looking for just basics, foods, toilet paper, just the basics of life. But it's in everything and in life. I found that weddings and bar mitzvahs and so they were very much they were kind of more meaningful in some ways, where people just got excited to be at the wedding because you could only have so many people there. And I said the COVID weddings were just a amazing amount of ruach from the people who were there. So really just thinking about what do we really need to survive and what is just luxuries that even maybe just bring us down within our lives. The next thing is number 7 is the chesed that goes on, the power that we have for chesed, and how beautiful it is that people who you don't even know are dropping off food packages for you and helping you out. Doctors are calling who you don't even know, checking up. It's just amazing what people are doing, not just in the Jewish community, non-Jewish community, everywhere. People are doing more chesed than ever before. You read about people leaving tips for people who they just assume are struggling, waiters and waitresses and so on, who I'm sure they are. But so they just leave extra tips and so on. So the chesed and the caring that we have from one another is something that we should be able to hold on to even after COVID. We have to really make sure that we keep that chesed rolling. The next thing, number 8, is the importance of keeping our mind sharp, to learn every single day, to grow. I feel that everybody talks about how one day goes to the next, and how important it is that when you learn, when you have something that you're growing, you feel like you're moving. That even when it's kind of foggy and one day rolls, every day does seems the same, and you can't do the things that you want to. That at least you say, I learned something new. I got this out of the day. And so each day to have that kvias, to have that learning is so important uh, in our lives. Number 9 is how much we don't know. We thought that science was so amazing, and all the technology and all the things, which it is, um, but and it's incredible of how fast we move through things. How we able to get together and be able to come up with the vaccine. Not me, but doctors who knew, they were able to be able to put together the vaccine. It was incredible. But how much we don't know, and how uncomfortable, and we shouldn't ever be sure of what we think. We should always keep double checking everything we know, and never be haughty, thinking that we know something. A lot of people know a lot more than we do in many, many topics. We should be humble and always want to listen and grow and learn. And finally, I think the most important of all of these things is the power of today. To harness that, the power of, we don't know the next moment will bring, and appreciate every single day that we have in this world. And so those are the things that I really I learned from this year. Just a quick idea from the parsha, where Yaakov is doing these things. He's getting his children together. He's giving them those messages that he wants to leave with them. And he has his dreams that he's telling over to Yosef. He says that he doesn't want Jews to make a life within Mitzrayim, but those dreams that he wants Yosef to understand those dreams. Life got interrupted. His life got interrupted, and it didn't go as the way he had hoped it would go. He settled, and he thought they were going to settle in Eretz Israel and fulfill all the brachos that Hashem gave him, promised him, and yet he made a detour to Mitzrayim. It didn't go as he planned, but he explained what his dreams were and what he wanted from Yosef for his generations, to be able to build a Jewish people, not in Mitzrayim, but in Eretz Yisrael, because if they were in Mitzrayim, they never would have survived. And so he was able to give those messages over to the future generations, and he was able to, although he had to roll differently, he had to roll with the punches and go where it is. He still tried to keep his mind sharp and forward ahead to his goals. And Amir Tashem, in this next secular year, we'll be able to gather the things that we learn from this year and keep rolling ahead always being willing to roll with the punches, whatever comes up, but still grow stronger and stronger. So I wish everybody a good secular new year and good Shabbos.